Every stream counts, right?
But it doesn't. He's giving it away for free.
And how generous?
Because you don't believe in it.
Ooh, wow.
Wait,
Look on
what?
We're expecting something more. There's verses on here that aren't finished. There's songs that feel incomplete. There's, I saw people talking about the artwork not being high res. It just feels like Kanye doesn't care.
Her pen is undeniable. Like, she is doing some of the best rapping of her career on this album, but also she's really honing on her hometown of Atlanta.
Hey, what's going on, guys? And welcome to a fresh episode of Billboard Unfiltered. Hey, we got a lot of topics to talk about, but the first one, we're going to dive into the sixth god himself. Drake has...
I can't believe you're wearing the fucking...
Listen, just come on, man. You got to embrace it, man.
I just can't.
Listen, kids, believe.
He's like the guy. He's like the meme of the guy on the plane wearing the fucking Trump shirt.
And everybody walking past.
We are not gonna do a Trump Drake. That's crazy.
Ain't nobody studying you. It's cool. It's all right.
All right. But the reason why I'm so hyped is because we finally got new original music from Drake, but it came with a plot twist. Pun intended. So pretty much Drake did an untraditional rollout where he released unreleased music on 100gigs.com, but .org, but he didn't release it through his IG or any of that. It's not on streaming. He released it through his Finsta called Plot Twist. And what came with that was 3 new records, one including 21 Savage, Young Thug, Call Us Up. The other one features Latto, and then the banger of the banger, Blue, Green, Red, that we will get into. It's the first official release, like a 3-pack we got from Drizzy post-feud. And we also got some archival footage along with that. Like 6-7 hours of studio sessions, him making Hotline Bling, playing ping pong with Steph Curry. It felt like Christmas. Felt like Kwanzaa. Hanukkah, all of that.
I think it felt like Tuesday.
Which we know you all, so we celebrate them all.
Oh.
So, it was a beautiful day to be a sixth god, devotee.
A disciple, yeah.
Disciple.
Yeah.
So, I could take the stage. I don't want to.
Go for it.
You sure?
I mean, you're already wearing the...
Can I get busy?
Oh.
Y'all gonna let me get busy?
By all means.
Y'all gonna let me get busy?
By all means.
We gonna do a little Billboard Unfiltered exclusive if y'all haven't heard this. Listen, this is the jam of the summer.
Somebody make a note. We gotta talk about the
jam
word
of the summer,
exclusive
Blue,
next
Green,
time.
Red.
Say that I'm in 30 days I have been sober. Now I'm back drinking again.
That's all they got. If y'all want it, y'all go on 100gigs.org. I can't just let my man's music play like that all the way. Y'all gotta go support.
You're acting like he's selling
That's
it.
right. We gotta get them. Every stream counts, right?
But it doesn't. He's giving it away for free.
And how generous.
Because you don't believe in it.
Ooh, wow.
Wait,
Talk on
what?
it.
Whoa. Okay,
Whoa.
let's talk about it.
I just feel
Talk
like
Brother Kyle.
Drake has never been above. Listen, Drake has never been above a 2-pack, a 3-pack for sale when he wants to make a statement. The statement that he made today for me was, I want to test the waters. I want to see what you guys are going to latch on to so I can then put it on streaming. Now that I believe in these 3 tracks and I'm going to put them on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, whatever, and however it's received is however it's received. Why hedge it? If you believe in these records, why hedge it?
Listen.
These aren't really your first records post-beef. Like, we got the Camila ones. We got the Gorilla
this is
ones.
his first lead records.
But can I call them a lead if they're on a random website?
Listen, it's a teaser. It's an appetizer.
No, a teaser would be a 30-second snippet.
But
These
listen,
are 3 full-length songs.
what does Drake have to prove?
That he believes
That's
in
a
his own
great
shit.
question.
But what does he have to I'm actually glad that my favorite artist could just say, fuck it. I'm just going to give these songs loosies, free, whatever. I'm going to give y'all a shit ton of content just for y'all to enjoy.
But that ignores the context that these things are coming up in. Do we get a 100 gigs if we don't get the aftermath of this beef?
I think so.
I think so. Gotten it before.
These are great questions.
But I think so, because even if he did a 3-pack, he still has given us a shit ton of music without any strings attached to it.
Sure. I think that
Scary Hours 1 and 2.
official release.
Right, but I mean, but the
doesn't
fact
matter
is,
whether
like,
it's official or not. I don't understand.
Yes, he does.
Well, you
Are we
the
talking
one
about
that
from a charting standpoint?
using the word for
Are we talking because we're worried? Hold on.
All right. Let's let Trevor speak. Let's let Trevor speak.
We're worried about charting.
Well, you could ask a question.
We are worried about charting. Let Trevor speak.
Are we worried about charting? If we're Drake, nigga, I've been here.
But Drake is.
I'm
Drake,
good.
Now you know Drake is. Drake is a
good.
chart watcher. You don't get a tattoo
good.
of you leading the Beatles if you don't care.
But he's
about
already
charts.
done it.
I know, but that's I think to Kyle's point. This is a clear pivot from someone we have never seen him before. This is a guy who clearly, no matter what was going on, highs, lows, in betweens, everything was always out. Everything was streamed. Everything was official. Everything was check this. And this is the first time.
I can't change the playbook. I'm not entitled to change the playbook.
You
or the
can
blueprint
change.
of my
You
career.
can change the playbook, but you got to be willing to accept what comes with that change of play. You can't say
And
you
that's
can't have it
fine.
both ways.
And I'm
say,
sure he's cool with that.
Okay.
I don't think he's pressed about whatever happens. This is just, hey, this for y'all. I told y'all I got an album with PartyNextDoor coming this fall. I'm sure another album's gonna come, a solo album. He's not scared. He's proven. He's one album away from Ty and Jay for the most #1 albums of all time. Are we really gonna play this game?
I'm not.
I
never brought up charting. You brought up charting, baby. I didn't bring it up.
WWF announcer.
I don't care if this shit's win number 63 or number 1. My thing is, they would be official releases if you believed in them. Period. I don't care about the charting thing. I'm talking about, like, you got to remember the context that they're dropping in. Like I asked before, do we get a moment like this if there is no beef and he doesn't, things will pan out the way that they do? I'm not positive that we get that. To this extent?
So your complaint is that he didn't put it on streaming because he's scared of the
It's not really a
potential
complaint.
him debuting at number 40.
No, it's not really a complaint. It's more
This
just
dude
like...
leads the Hot 100 in terms of entries. He doesn't give a shit.
Are we really pretending?
established.
Are we pretending
He's
as if the
done.
past few months didn't happen?
We know what happened.
I think this is.
But you think these 3 records he's gonna say, "Oh, this is make or break for me"? Like,
But
whether
this is
I'm
not.
I'm not saying
this
it's
is
make
not
or break.
like a
I'm
random
saying,
drop.
like...
This is not like we're pretending as if he was just like, oh man, you know what would be cool if I did this. Where we know Drake is more calculated than that. We know he is a person who thinks about the totality of not only his career, but the entire market, the people he's playing against. He thinks about the entire board when he makes these moves. I think this is extremely novel. I think it's really creative. The highest compliment I can pay it, as I said before, is that this feels like something that Ye would have done back when Ye was still good and killing it. Back when when he was doing like the Good Friday releases and things like that. It's like that type of
he's
creative.
having fun with it.
Yeah, it's great.
But here's my thing.
The thing is, you can't divorce in the same way that Good Fridays was born out of the duress that Ye was under after the VMAs, when he was like, I have to like recreate not only myself and the music that I'm making, but my connection with the fans. I had to like rebuild this thing. And everyone was like, yeah, this is fucking amazing. He's like doing all these collaborations with people that we wouldn't even think of. He's putting people on songs we wouldn't even think of. That was, if not directly correlated to that moment, it heavily influenced by it. I think the same with this. I think he looked at what happened the past few months and he was like, for some reason, for whatever reason, people are not engaging with the things I'm dropping in the same way. It could not be him. Could be very well. It could be the people that he's working with, because, who's to fucking say that a Camilla song would have done anything by herself? Probably would have done worse. Mm-hmm. But I think it's not crazy to believe that he's like, all right, let me reset for a second.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, no one's saying anything's wrong with it.
Like,
it's just an observation.
Kyle's pretty much saying he's pussy. No, Kyle says
I
that's
do
pretty
think
much what Kyle
I
says.
do think it's pussy, because I would think differently if these were 3 songs, that's all you drop, versus 3 songs plus 8-10 hours of archival footage. If you believe in this new stuff, why are we then walking up memory lane at the same time?
But he's always fed like nostalgia. That's always been his thing. Even when you look
That's
at
my thing. It's like this, you're still leaning on this nostalgia thing because you don't fully believe in this new stuff that you're dropping. I think if you stood 10 toes behind the new records, we wouldn't need to be looking at alternate CLB covers. We wouldn't need to be looking at.
But those are for the day one fans. Like the super Drake stands, they're gonna appreciate.
I feel like the
that.
day one fans would probably want stuff from earlier records, no?
But he did that. No, there's stuff from Nothing Was the Same. There's stuff
we've gotten
from Hotline
all the
Bling.
stuff from all.
But
those
I think that
you want stuff from.
the same.
But you like the stuff from CLB and that you got from the archival footage.
I thought it was cool. I thought
Okay.
it's never behind the scenes.
I mean, it doesn't. It doesn't
the
hurt to
public-
put it
yeah.
out. Like it's not.
If it was Beyonce,
alternate
cats would have been
cover?
clamoring
well,
for this shit.
That
I
alternate
think-
cover,
I mean, the alternate
that's a
cover was
freaky
like
ass
crazy.
cover.
Yes,
Like,
it is, it is,
that
it
don't
is.
even work in your
It is, it is,
favor
it is,
for
it is.
real.
But
It's like,
I'll-
I'm
you know-
All right.
confused.
We gotta like bring it down a bit. Trevor, you haven't really had a chance to voice your take on this. What do you think?
I mean, I know. Look, I think I don't want to go nearly as far as Kyle because I don't think. I honestly don't think it's that
See me,
crazy.
Drake. See me outside. What you gonna do?
Okay, well, we'll get that on pay-per-view coming soon. I mean, look, I do agree. First of all, in terms of the 3 records, the 21 and Young Thug could have kept that. I don't need it. The other 2, great.
You don't like
records.
that track?
No,
It's pretty
to me it
good.
feels
That's
like
a good
anything that
track.
could have been on the
What?
past like 3-4 albums. I didn't feel nothing
Oh.
special about it. I will give the shout out to Blue, Green, Red.
I think all these songs are better than anything he's dropped in a while.
Okay, I'll take the Latto. I'll take the Blue, Green, Red. The other one, I'll take 2, leave 1. It's fine. It
Okay.
still comes out as a win.
Okay.
As far as the drop thing, I don't know. I mean, part of me is like, yeah, it is weird that Drake, somebody so numbers obsessed, somebody so quick obsessed, is gonna wait. Now, watch if we see Blue, Green, Red on streaming in a week or 2.
Right, that ain't
We're gonna
my
know that
words.
the playbook was okay. Test the waters because we saw, I mean, the whole Yachty leak thing was. People always were subscribing to that was another, okay, we're going to test the water, see if they fuck with it. We ain't heard nothing about that since the sort of weird apology tour that came off because nobody fucked with the record. I expect something to come out pretty soon on this. The weird thing, though, to me is almost with the PartyNextDoor album that's coming, I don't know why we need these warm-up records that are probably not even going to sound anything like what's coming up. I would have just waited. I mean, it's going to be like, what, 3
I think it's
months
a
before all this shit
reset.
comes out?
I think he's like I think he's shaking off all the shit that's happened over the past few months.
Sure,
I'm
it's like a
happy.
random reset. I would have honestly, I would have taken the 2 things separate. I'd have been fine with that. If this is like the whole reset of here's some new tracks, here's some nostalgia, and we're gonna throw it all together, and then we're gonna
It's
sort
a
of
big thing.
move
A
this.
big thing happened to him. We have to
Yeah.
admit that a big career.
Yeah,
event
psychological
happened.
shock. For
Yeah,
sure.
and to be like, I have to reground myself artistically to like, as I said, reconnect with the fans in a way. I mean, clearly the Drake fans are very happy.
I was gonna say this feels like a loyalty play for the ones
which is
who
good.
stuck through
You have
him
to
all the
like,
way.
you have to double down your base.
Yeah,
you know?
I'm not mad at that play at all. I think that's to reward those who were loyal to him the whole time. And
Yeah,
that's
you
all,
gotta. That's like some real like politician shit. Like you guys rocked with me when everybody turned their back on me. Here's all this stuff to say thank you.
I'll take that. I still think these things could have been separate. And to me that would have
Sure.
made stronger impacts either way.
I think
I
it's
would do
cool.
want to give him some props though, on just for me, because I feel I don't want to give too much hater vibes, but I do think it was a smart way to flip the overall narrative in terms of the fact that Drake doesn't really do interviews and stuff like that. But now for the next 2 weeks, we'll get a bunch of articles going through that archival footage and getting stuff about that. So his name's back in the news in different ways that are not necessarily beef related, which I think is smart. Same thing with him playing on the intersection of leak culture and hip hop culture. Like, here's an artist self-leaking all their stuff. Like, that's another cool play that I got to give him his props for too. But on the other hand, you run to Atlanta and I leave it there.
Look, the one thing I'll say on that counter is as we go through this stuff, clearly the Drake fans are going to be loyal about it. I'm worried that some of this stuff is going to be contextualized in different ways. Like, I'm a tennis fan, so I saw that Serena clip going around a bunch and everyone. And the fact that his mom was like, isn't she seeing somebody? Like, are you really about to do this? Like, are we really? So, sure, it's cool to find out the backstory. Sure, it's cool to hear how it goes. But those kind of messages where it's like, the takeaway is, damn, he can't let it go. Damn, he got it, and the sneak diss of like, hey, I'm going to talk about you, but you going to groove. Like, what? Like, yo, that's crazy. Like the fact that it's plotted out that way is crazy. So I think even as people continue to go through this, it may not all come out of the wash as just like cool, harmless, archival fun. Like putting that in the Kendrick context, I think, there could be a little damage on the backside from it still too.
That's true.
Yeah, I think that there's, the conversation of, is Drake playing like 4D chess, or is this just who Drake is, in the sense of all the things that were brought up in the beef? Is he purposefully leaning into all that stuff to make a point, or can he not help leaning into that stuff. The line is very blurred. I can't tell. I think it seems as if he's leaning into it and just saying, fuck you. This is, I can do whatever I want. But, I think net, it's a positive.
Yeah, I would say, yeah.
I think this is all good stuff. I think his fans are very happy. I'm glad there's something that's not directly related to the beef that is out that, I'm glad we're like pushing past this whole like waiting for him to do something so we can see how people react to it. The songs are good. I wish it was on Apple Music so I can listen to it. I'll let you have the last word.
No, I'm good.
Carl.
You good?
I said everything I had to say.
What's your favorite one out of the three?
Let's go to
That was
mad as hell.
that was a layup.
You said what's
your favorite one out of the
It's
three?
got to be
No, that was
Red.
Blue Red.
No, the one he played. Yeah.
That's my favorite one.
That's the one that's definitely like, if he would have dropped that immediately
banger.
after, that's like,
No
let's
debate
go.
about that. I think that would have been a great track.
You don't think that Drake with the melodies thing would have, come right for him though?
It's good enough
he's
to, like,
doing it with the party
who
album.
cares?
He's just been releasing. He's been on like the singing wave. The last few features, whether it's with Gordo, with Camilla. So
yeah,
it's like it's good
I
enough
like
to
that
like,
shit was already in the bag.
who
but,
cares?
Right. Stuff is different.
I'll save the rest of my Drake energy for later. I feel like I kind of went 0 to 100 real quick.
I was gonna say you sound depressed, son.
But no,
100 to 0 real quick.
We're gonna pivot on to Mr. Kanye West, Ye and Ty Dolla signed. We got Vultures 2. Fell out of the sky, came out of nowhere. Dropped early Saturday morning. Features, man, you got the kids on there. You got North and Chicago on there on Bomb. You got Playboy Cardi, Future, Lil Wayne, Young Thug, Lil Durk. He has everybody on that motherfucker. We had an interesting, spirited debate yesterday because this man right here, Mr. Damien Scott, believes that after this release that Kanye is washed and cooked. So I would like you to, expand on that, why you feel like this album was an L for Ye and why people shouldn't care anymore.
I don't think people should not care anymore. I think people don't care anymore.
Say less.
I think that he is, as I said, I think in a vacuum, Kanye is one of the, if not the most talented producer, rap artist, hip hop artist working. The guy can do anything. He's extremely inventive. He seemingly has no boundaries. He can think of things in a way that most people can't. But I think even with someone like Ty, who's able to corral him and complete the records and work with him in his hectic process, the end product is not hitting the way that he would like it to hit, that we would like it to hit. And I think people who have been waiting for this to come out were expecting something more. There's verses on here that aren't finished. There's songs that feel incomplete. There's, I saw people talking about the artwork not being high res.
Yeah.
It just feels, it feels like Kanye doesn't care. And so if Kanye doesn't, if Ye doesn't care, why should we care? And it's tough for us to, it's tough for me to believe that it's gonna change like that. We've been waiting for that to happen. We saw the success of Vultures 1, which I think was very interesting and, a little inexplicable, but it was great to see. This, it's tough for me to digest this album and say, yeah, Ye is going to have a bright future in music after this. And, I'm a huge Ye fan. I've been a fan for years. I think, I'm a huge Ty fan. I just want more, and I think fans want more, and I don't know if he can give more, and therefore I don't know if fans are going to stick around for this. So.
Fair. Damn, gentlemen.
Sorry to be such a downer.
And I think I should mention that Ye is coming off Vultures 1, which was #1 on the Billboard 200, spawned the #1 single Carnival on the Hot 100. So had some big wins up until this point.
Yeah, and I mean, I think those big wins, you know, when we look at this chapter of Kanye, of Ye from, I don't know, you can go back, Life of Pablo, or the 5 drops, wherever you want to start post sort of 2015. You know, Vultures 1 and Carnival are the outliers. Like, certainly nobody expected Carnival to be this #1 hit out of the gate, you know, top the chart for a couple of weeks, do the things it was doing. So yeah, that was a definite win, but I think that was more of a surprise to people. I don't know if, you know, people thought it was going to do that kind of thing. This feels a little, I won't say on pace. It feels a little below. I'm surprised there's no real song jumping. Field Trip is kind of doing its thing on streaming, but just, I figured with all the guests that you named, you know, all these tracks, something was going to pop a little faster than it is. Certainly the Taylor fans are mobilized and activated to get that block from #1. So I'm almost kind of curious if that happens, what kind of response that's going to elicit from Ye. I mean, in a way, we know how much he cares about his legacy and his records, and everything has gone #1 all the way back to College Dropout. So this would be a big, you know, sort of, you don't want to make too much of it, but it's one of those things when you look in the record books, it's going to be, oh, this is where the drop off really happened. As far as the music, you know, goes, I think to Dame's point, a lot of it seems unfinished. There was a deluxe that came out either last night or this morning, had a new song on there, but a lot of it seems to be flipped a little bit. Like, and we always know that Ye tinkers with things, you know, even when they're out, they're never fully finished. But the fact that so much came out and more than I think half the songs have some sort of tinkering on them kind of goes to that point that, okay, why do we need to rush this out exactly?
Yeah,
why
like,
did
you have to drop it on a Saturday?
You know, yeah, I mean, like, and for someone who was so meticulous about everything, I think to his image, his, you know, the artwork, everything would have been, like, he would delay things forever. We know there's so many things in the vault that have never come out because they weren't right, they weren't perfect.
Bro, this
has changed his whole.
Donda dropped on a Saturday as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there was something weird with Vultures 1. Like, but the Saturdays, you know, Friday drop to me is not the end of the world. But I think just the rest of the pieces feel very scattered and very, you know, incomplete. And I think the fans are kind of seeing that. The fact that there's, even for the Kanye fans, there's nothing to latch onto, no song that's jumping off necessarily. I think that's just really telling about the state of Ye right now. Boy, that's hard to keep, you know.
Yeah,
I mean, when you've been saying it, I guess, for almost 20 years, you know, it's like,
Kyle?
I know, musically, this is probably my least favorite era of Ye. I don't really love the kind of chanty, almost like frat rap kind of thing that he's been in recently. It reminds me of, like, my least favorite moments of when, like, Mo Bamba, like, took over, like, White Frat Boys. I just hate that sound. So I'm not loving the music right now, but I think I'm most fascinated in this being part of a trilogy, because I don't listen to this and think that there needs to be a third one, which I think is probably the biggest problem overall. It was presented as a trilogy initially. By the time honestly, by the time I finished the first one, I was like, okay, I don't really need a second or a third. I've gotten the second one, and I'm like, okay, why do we need a third one? I can't even really differentiate what makes Vultures 2 not Vultures 1. These sound pretty much like you can put these tracks on either record and they wouldn't really mess it up too much. And this dropping in the context of 2 other high-profile trilogies from The Weeknd and Beyonce, who are both doing interesting things with individual installments of those trilogies, I'm like, why is this one falling so flat?
That's the thing.
And it's just exactly.
Exactly.
Knowing who is at the helm of these things, it's like it feels extra deflating
Like,
when they do come.
it's crazy to me to think about the albums. You know, we had Ty on the cover, and Ty explained the process of how, you know, these songs get made and then torn down and then built back up. And we all know how talented Ty Dolla Sign is. We all know what he's capable of. We all know how talented Kanye is. It's crazy that this is what is the end product of these 2 guys working in tandem over a year on a project.
well, I was surprised at how, I mean, Ty is not even on this as much as I expect. Like, it's almost like a featuring, you know, situation. I was like,
I think he did a lot of work on the back end of, like, actually producing and stitching things together. If I had to guess, and that's the way he made it sound, was like he was doing a lot of work and, like, actual, like, the musicality of it and, you know, making these things come to life. But yeah, it was surprising to me as well.
Yeah, I think for me, it just sucks knowing that this is somebody who I still believe to this day, maybe you could put him and Kendrick in the same conversation, who released 5 consecutive classic albums.
Yeah.
To know creatively what he's been able to do in his career, have such a drop off and fall off and just not give a fuck. Like, one of my favorite songs is 530. And I felt like we saw flashes.
Yeah.
In the beginning.
Yeah, we did that radio edit. That
And
that
then
little
the
last coda.
part, it just fucking went downhill from there. But it's tough because I still believe, and I think part of me is just because knowing what he did with those 5 albums, and even I thought Donda was pretty solid. Like, there's certain one-off tracks you could take. The Kendrick joint that he did, I think it was the Life of the Party joint. The shit he did with Andre, you know, there's still something in there, you know, and that's why it's hard for me to just dismiss him and say it's fully over, because I still think that genius is in there somewhere.
530, for example, is a song that is years old. That, you know, leaked. It was a part of like the Donda sessions. It's an old song he's been working on forever. And we know Kanye does this. We know he works on songs for years, tinkering, rebuilding. Why are there verses on here that don't have words?
He doesn't care, bro.
Honestly disrespectful.
And so, like,
he
if he doesn't care, how long until fans are like, this is it? And I'm not saying that Kanye is like washed as a talent. I think he has the talent. I think he's washed in the sense that the public will stop paying attention to this.
I'll say this real quick before we pivot. I had that moment, and it's when I went to Wyoming when he did the Ye listening.
Yeah.
And I heard a story. I won't say who, you know, but it's a Kanye affiliate. And he was telling a story how for Ye, the week before he had the album done, he deleted everything.
Oh, yeah.
He deleted the entire hard drive.
Yeah.
Said, fuck it, we're starting from scratch. And the dude was like, yo, bro, are you serious?
I've heard that same story.
And
he's done that for
he's done
for
that
a
for
lot
numerous
of
projects. And even when it came down to the cover art, he made the cover art for Ye in the car ride to the listening party in Wyoming. So it's kind of like,
but
if
it's like,
you don't give a fuck.
It's like, you know, like when you're younger and you're like, I can do this thing the night before. I can like just knock this thing out the night before.
Yeah.
And as you get older, you're like, I don't have the energy to do that anymore.
But even then, it's like we're kind of, fans are like kids in a sense where you have like this childlike belief, like, yo, you know, because these cats be pulling these stunts that they think they can get away with.
Yeah.
We wake up at a certain point and it's like, nah, we see the bullshit now, bro.
It's like, oh, Santa Claus isn't real. Like, oh, my mom put that present there.
Right. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm curious to see what Ye and Ty does this time around from a number standpoint. So we'll see, unless you guys know next week. Now, to wrap up, we have a dope album coming out on Friday. Miss Latto, Big Mama, Big Latto, Sugar, Honey, Iced Tea. Dropping this Friday. Cover boy Kyle.
Cover
Cover boy Kyle had
check
the
it
insight.
out.
If you guys haven't
Kindly.
already, make sure you check out his cover story.
Yeah, that's great.
With
Great
Latto.
story.
Great story
Thank
that came out a couple weeks ago. I know you were able to go to the listening party
Yes.
last week, so give us some details about the album. It was a session. Yeah, it was a session.
It was some southern food. We got some fried chicken.
Oh, they have
some
fried chicken at
mac and
11 in the morning?
cheese, some peach cobbler, some iced tea actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Come on, Brandon.
Should have pulled up with
Right.
you.
That's right. Is that good?
I
Didn't
am.
bring no plates back, but it's cool.
It was cold, but I had a very good time with the album.
Okay.
I think Latto has really honed in on what makes her her in the landscape of female rap, and it's one, her pen is undeniable. Like, she is doing some of the best rapping of her career on this album, but also she's really honing in on her hometown of Atlanta, and not in a flyby kind of way. You're getting kind of classic Atlanta sounds. You're getting pop Atlanta sounds. You're getting more contemporary Atlanta sounds. Like, you get people from Sierra to Huncho on this record. Like, there were a lot of different eras on here, but they all still feel very authentic to Latto. Even the album cover is kind of a callback to her dad, because her dad used to supply these cars for music videos that were being filmed in Atlanta, and she's like washing one of those rims on the cover and stuff like that. I think it's her best production by far. I think people will be very impressed at how the production quality has increased from the last album, for sure. And there also is a concerted effort to double down on her rap bona fides. You know, she had a massive pop hit in Big Energy. Then she had the Jungkook collab with, that was 7, that also went #1. Like, she could have done a huge pop crossover record with this one. This is not that. This is very much straight rap the entire time. My favorite track is the last track. It's the one that she teased at the BET Awards. Shout out to me. I think it's really good. Very introspective. Talking a lot about her relationship with her sister, how much she's grown over the past couple of years. As you know, she's 25. Her frontal lobe kind of developed, and she's like, I just have different things to talk about, different things to say. She's clothes on a new house and stuff. She got her man. She just got different things in her life going on that it's like, oh, this is not the person from Queen of the South. This is not the person from 777. This is somebody a little bit older, a little bit wiser, a little bit more mature, but so assured in her sound, like very assured in her sound. She's experimenting a bit, a little bit of singing on the record. We got a tease of that on Big Mama, the single. But I'm a big fan of the record, and I hope it does some really good things for her.
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious. I want to ask you this, and I'll open it up to you guys too. I've always felt like she was an immense talent.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think this album is a step in the right direction to where it could put her in potentially that big three conversation that, we always talk about? Nicki, Cardi, Megan. I know Nicki hasn't put out any new music this year. Meg, great album. Cardi doing Cardi things. So
I mean, with the state of the big three as outlined just now, I think, yeah. I mean, one of those spots is kind of shaky right now for obvious reasons. And this album is probably, I don't want to say probably, I think it's better than pretty much every other female rap project that we've gotten this year. I'll say that. I think I'll say it, I'll stand on it. I'm very happy with this album. I'm very proud of her with this record. And it's not just because I did the cover, but I really do think that it's a very well sequenced record. Like, even if I liked some songs more than others, there was never a point where I was like, okay, let me skip. Let me go to the next track. Like, there's real storytelling happening on this one. And I think she's making a project that will land better in terms of people respecting the caliber of her artistry. I'm not sure what it will do for her commercially, just given how the singles have performed. And it's been a minute since how big Put It On The Floor was, even that it is going to be included as a bonus track on the album. But I think Big Three, with that spot being kind of shaky because of Cardi right now, why not? I feel like we're probably past the point of that initial Big Three until we get another project from Cardi, low-key. I don't really see a reason to keep her right there when we have multiple people who are killing it this year across mediums, and she, for a plethora of reasons, has not even been putting herself in those conversations for real.
Very fair. Shit. I will pose this as a concern though, because knowing that we've had these caliber releases, Glorilla having a monster this year, Megan I just mentioned with her dope album, self-titled, JT having a moment, the tour as well, JT having a moment. These numbers haven't been really reflected well on the charts, and I wonder if that's something to be concerned about. I'll pose that to you, Mr. Anderson, and then go to Dame.
Is something to be concerned about. That, I guess it's going back to that Big Three conversation. Part of it depends on, what your priority is, and I don't mean that as a, cop out, but it's like, the one thing about the Big Three is they've all had this huge pop crossover success. They've had these big radio singles. They've had these big #1 moments, and that's kind of, they live in a different tax bracket, and they have for a long time, and that's kind of what makes them, who they are. But when you look at someone like a Glorilla, like a TGIF, the viral moments that everyone is always chasing, those kind of, really just like regular people fucking with these records, FNF, everybody knew it, even if it wasn't this major crossover pop record. TGIF isn't even on this project, so to sort of give a statistical note, all the success that song is having is just for that song. It doesn't help Glorilla's album, doesn't help the EP. So that album, would be doing better if those things contributed to it. So part of it is a little by the rules of like where things live and where they don't and how they help things out. But I think I don't know if you should really be that concerned and I don't want to like downplay the importance of, as big a #1 is, as big as it is. As long as you have that solid cultural base, I think if you rear that over time, the results will come. I know it's sort of easy nowadays to, we're all focused on first week numbers and we're all trying to say, if it didn't come out and it didn't start top 5, it's a flop. You wasted your time. Why put it out there? But I think, for someone like Glow in particular, I think her next project is like it's going to set her up for something massive because she's, built the time, put the infrastructure in, and the people are actually like there and fucking with it. Now one thing that also might be a numbers problem is I think when you look at a Cardi or a Nicki or a Meg who have had these pop culture, big, fun, viral moments, it's going to be hard for a Glorilla, for a Sexy Red, for some like. I think in the same way, kind of like when people talk about Summer Walker, like, why didn't she have a bigger radio presence? Why doesn't she have a bigger, following? It's like they make records for the niggas and they want the niggas to, and the niggas love it and they enjoy it. But it is hard to upsell that to, pop radio. It's hard to put that to, the Grammy Award performances. Like some of these exposure moments that the other people have been able to have because, the right single has popped off or they've, collaborated with the right person or whatnot, these other ladies aren't necessarily going to have that moment with those kind of records, but I don't know if they care. I think they'd much rather be, selling out in their hometown night after night. Everybody fucks with them than necessarily, living in this other world where, it's platinum and it's whatever, but it's fleeting. We've seen a lot of people have these big records over time, 4, 5, 6 years, and then the fans aren't really there. Once that one record, drops and it's not hot and everybody abandons you, it's like, wait a minute, I thought y'all loved me. It's like, no, we didn't love you. We loved the record. Yeah. We love this. So now that they're really cultivating, I think, from those homegrown scenes and things like that, I think that to a lot of them would be worth more, in my mind.
Yeah, well said, Dame.
Said it all.
Yeah. So it's tough because I like all of these projects that we named were really good. Mm-hmm. And, I remember writing this when I wrote this essay about Meg, and I said it similarly about Doja. Doja has yet to crack 100K like opening week.
Really?
But see, that's the thing. See, the thing about Doja is I'm
go
going to Scarlet, like, because people were very surprised, right? They were like, oh my gosh, how could it not? How could it not? It's Doja Cat. She won the Grammy. She had all these top 10 singles. It's like people have pop Doja fans and people who like paint the town, rap Doja, like fuck the girls. They're not the same audience.
Her image was also like in the toilet going into Scarlet because she was like railing on her fans for 4 months.
But what's crazy is like even like a Planet Her, which was a blockbuster album.
Yeah.
She still doesn't have a #1 album nor 100K to her name. But when you look at her tour, and I always tell people don't get lost in the chart numbers because, again, Doja's freaking doing wireless headlining sets. Mm-hmm. Her tour sold out. Megan Thee Stallion, perfect example. She did 64K. Top 3 debut, but the tour's super successful. She's still out here killing it. So it's kind of like...
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Because when people say, don't care about the chart numbers, I think
don't put an extra.
But I'm not saying that. I'm saying like, but people always looks at the peak. People, I'm saying no. Because
still Billboard.
Still
Billboard. Still the Billboard.
That's right. It's right. No. Please go to billboard.com/charts.
Still the charts.
No, but people always like look at the peak and they work off that. It's like, so tell me what you'd rather have. Would you rather have a #1 album that falls off the chart in 6 weeks or a #2 album that stays in the top 10 for 6 months? And people are going to say, well, it was #2. You didn't get #1. It's like, well, I had the biggest record this year, clearly, because, so when you look at someone like Doja, yeah, she didn't have the #1 single wasn't there with Kiss Me More or anything, but it's like Kiss Me More, Woman, Need to Know, Get Into, all those were like massive, massive hits. So even though they didn't, it wasn't a Katy Perry kind of Drake level kind of #1 after #1 after #1 kind of thing, that was still a massively successful album. And the fact that, I mean, some people, I know they would argue that consistency is worth way more, than just these one and dones that we see a lot of times where people just, blow up that first week and then a month later it's, oh, I don't see you.
I think that's why it's also important to kind of localize the way that we look at the opening numbers. Like, yes, for some people, when they saw JT's numbers, they were like, oh, flop. But I look at them in the context of her career, and I'm like, actually, this is a massive win for her. Absolutely. This shows that this club tour did what it needed to do. You cultivated a fan base that was going to show up for you your first week and stream and buy that record off your website or wherever it was being sold.
And bigger notably than any City Girls project.
Exactly. Bigger than any City Girls project. Like that's a really, really huge get for you. And I think that that's indicative of how important it is to cultivate those kinds of fan bases. Like the Hotties are a branded fan base. Like they have their own kind of thing. You see them pull up to those tours. You see them pull up in their anime costumes to support Meg. Like that's a thing. We even got to get into the Barbs. Like we know the power of that fan base. That's not necessarily something that every single person has, and it kind of does show up in the numbers sometimes, but that's why it really is like a case by case thing. But yeah, I think you know, in terms of Latto, I think these numbers will probably be around where everyone else has been this year. It's not like she had a massive song off this project yet. Who knows what the future holds for it, but it'll probably end up around there if I had to guess.
I mean, overall, I'm sure we can all agree, as long as the music is fire and you already gave it the cosign, that means it's a good thing. So I'll take that any day. Absolutely. Before we go, gonna do our picks of the week. What we bumping? You know, anything old, new, you know, fun, nostalgic, whatever you into right now. I'll let Brother Dame go first.
All right. I am it's interesting to me that Hit Boy has this many good beats in him. The album
I don't
I'm
know if that's a
listening to,
that's a backhanded compliment.
no, I think it's.
Holy
I don't.
shit.
No, I
That's
think,
how you wind it up,
bro. This
We didn't know
guy,
you could do it, son,
this
but
guy
wow.
has given Nas probably some of the best beats of his career
Yeah,
for how many years?
he made niggas in Paris.
He has yet to me make a bad beat in I don't know how long.
Yeah.
And ever since his father has gotten out of prison, he's been lacing him with, I'm not joking, just incredible beats.
Listen, that's
just,
your daddy, bro. Like,
it's like he was saving these shits for him. Like as soon as he comes out, I'm just gonna hit him with this heat. And the album I've been listening to is Black and Whites. It's a big hit, Hit Boy and the Alchemist. Incredible. Just I've been a big fan of Big Hit since he's been
out the pen.
it's just crazy. Everything he's dropped so far has been great. He's very plain spoken but very impactful. He raps like a preacher. Everything he says, every bar is so for lack of a better word, visible. It's like I can
very in your face.
I can see what he's saying,
very
even even when he says something that's like as simple as just like I washing his car. He talks about like all the women that he wants to get with, and I think this guy has an immense talent. I don't know how long he's been rapping. I don't know like what the deal is with him really, but it's incredible. Alchemist laces him as well. If you haven't listened to him yet, this is a good place to start. Watch out for the Writers with Jay Worthy and Big Hit. Fire song, if you want to go back and check that out. Also, Big Hit's daughter is on the album.
Okay.
Hit Girl Elena is on.
Hit Girl
Nice.
So they're blood
Hit,
sisters.
Or Hit
I mean,
Girl,
blood
yeah.
sisters, but siblings.
I think they're like
Nickelodeon
half
thing going,
siblings.
Hit
or something.
Girl.
Right, let's give it.
Hit-
And she kills it.
Big Hit,
She kills it.
Hit Girl.
It's a family
Hit Boy.
affair. It's a great album. I just wanted to throw that in there before we bounce.
Shout out to the hits.
It sounds like some like Disney needs to get there's a little superhero there.
I don't know about Disney with Big Hit.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well,
Pretty
you're right.
Maybe HBO.
Yeah.
Or Showtime. He's
Yeah.
pretty
Okay,
wild.
we can take it.
I agree. Go around. Go Kyle and Trevor.
I had to hold it down for the R&B picks.
Okay.
For my
All
pick,
right.
but I chose Softcore by Moses Sumney. It was an EP he dropped last Friday. I think Moses has been one of our most evocative R&B vocalists and songwriters for years now. I love this record. It's electronic R&B, real chilly sound, lots of lyrical explorations, kind of the convergence of friendships and romance and all that goes into it. It's about 6 tracks. It's really short, but it's a really, really beautiful listen. I can't bump it anymore. I really do love it. So that's my pick for this week.
Okay. Say less. Big Trev.
I decided to go with a record that's really blowing up on TikTok, on streaming, and made the charts for the first time this week on the Hot 100. It's this Hunnenkind Big Dogs record. I think, at first when I first saw it come through a couple weeks ago, I almost was like, what the fuck is this? Like, it's through Universal Music India. It's something that we usually don't see come through on this side of the world. And then when I heard it, it was like, I didn't expect anything. Like, it's got such heavy 3 6 Mafia influence. We're trying to figure out who, this guy has a sort of story where he was in Houston. He's worked, sort of all around the U.S. for a little bit, moved to India, I think about a decade ago or so, but has kept that love of hip hop going. I just think it's a fun, I think it's a big fun record. Like, it's something that when I first heard it, it definitely, and if you watch with the video was insane. But it's one of those songs that I feel like really belongs like an action movie kind of like sequence. Like, it just gets you hype. It just feels big, like cinematic, like it really needs to be heard. Then there's a beat drop, like a switch about 2/3 of the way through. So just when you kind of think you've heard everything about it, it like drops into this super trap moment, like everything slows down. And I just think like when I heard it, it was like, I think when we hear a lot of new kids, especially, they come through on a drill kind of wave. So to just hear this sound, 3 6 Mafia, get this visual going and get it in a way that to me was like, oh, I gotta bump this like not only in my headphones, but this is like a speaker song. I love it. So I think it's gonna be really big. It obviously is really growing. We'll see, of course, what this means in terms of just if it's a one hit or a really start of a huge career. But I think it's one of those songs that I'm pleasantly surprised by it. I'm glad people are giving it a chance, and I think it really delivers on the promise.
Okay.
So
and where did it land this week?
Somewhere in the 50s.
Okay.
But for it to be like, and it's still, it's definitely still growing. So that's definitely one of the kids, one of those names that I think, it's probably too late for a song of the summer kind of conversation. But as this continues to grow, don't be surprised if you hear it coming through soon. And if they give it a radio push and everything, I think it could do some big things.
All right, be on the lookout for that. I promise you this was not like planned. No, I promise you. So like I just happened over the weekend to do a deep dive, go back, and I'm talking about starting from album 1, and I'm talking about Drake.
The mixtape.
Thank Me Later. I want to thank. I didn't go to so far going on the comeback season.
So
I went to Thank Me.
You
Later.
want to? This is like when the Christians like decide to read the Bible again from like Dave, like,
exactly
from Genesis. Like you really said, let me go.
You know now he went from Exodus. He even go all the way back.
Wow.
But it's endearing. It's endearing to me because the album dropped on my 21st birthday. Dropped June 15th, 2010, and I just wanted to feel that nostalgia again. And I remember going into the album when he dropped 9 a.m. in Dallas, and this was probably like still to me just like the setup, one of the biggest rookie campaigns going into a project we've seen in hip hop, because there were so many fucking doubters and haters. I remember him putting out Over. Cass was like, yo, what the fuck? Put I Find Your Love. Yo, what is this bullshit?
Yo, this singing shit.
The singing shit, and when I listened to the album today, because I was very hard on it when it first came out, I was like, all right, it's like a 3.3. I think the album
out of 5 out of 10.
Yeah, 5. Out of 5.
That's
crazy.
It
was like to me it was like a 6.5 out of 10.
Right.
But when I listened to it today, I'm like, yo, this kid was on to something, man. I think of Shut It Down with Dream. I think of CC's Interlude, Show Me a Good Time, Vibe, rapping alongside Jay for Light Up. He was able to, as a young cat, pair himself pretty well with some of these legends. When T.I. was on his A game for Fancy, Nicki Minaj, Up All Night, when they were both coming up at the same time. Just to see him set the table for a debut album, I didn't appreciate it then, but just seeing the outline of his career to where he is today, man, I gotta tip my hat off to him. And it's a good project listening to it in 2024.
I gotta go back.
Yeah, and I think I ended up going.
You converted one.
Listen, man.
Doing the Lord's work.
Listen, man.
I profiled Drake many times. I'm a big fan. My critiques are out of love.
We just demand a lot of our kings. Yeah. I get that. I mean, Kanye's
go ahead.
Kanye's your king. Yeah, I mean, Kendrick's his king.
Ain't nobody my king but God. Oh. I love Kendrick.
Amen. Amen.
Get dark. Okay. Yeah.
Oh man, but thank y'all for tuning in with us for a very lively, fun episode of Billboard Unfiltered. See you again next week.